Shanti, Shanti. I, the pure consciousness, is going to manifest the words of truth and the words of wisdom through his finite mind and through his finite body. I do not know, however, the pure consciousness, the pure consciousness, do not know, however, for how long we'll keep going. Anyway, I hope you can see me clearly. Hence, here in my presence. Yesterday, we spoke about the truth of all truths, or what is the ultimate truth. If you remember, yesterday we spoke about the truth of all truths, or what is the ultimate truth. If you notice that I am delivering message rather more frequently, okay, and just in the beginning of this message I mentioned that I do not know for how long I would keep going. However, we would make it known to you, if you understand. We would make it known to you. So or mukti in Hinduism. So it's a very significant topic, and I am going to deliver the message today about this particular topic. And I hope to achieve some results that people would feel, would be feeling more forgiving. I am hoping to achieve some results. This way, at the very least, our planet would not be as this way, at the very least, our planet would not be at least as unfortunately sick as it is now. The sages, the wise people, the rishis, the sages, the wise people, the rishis, not only from India but also throughout the negative traits in the society actually starts from within. Because what happens, it starts from within, and after that it spreads. Whatever we feel, we spread around. Please remember that. If we are feeling self-love, if we are loving ourselves, if we are feeling self-love, and if we are loving ourselves, that would reflect in the communication wherever we go. Are you following me? Are you understanding what I'm saying to you? Feel self-love, that would reflect around us. We cannot give somebody something until unless we have it. It's not a fiction. It's not a fairy tale. It's the truth. I'm telling you your daily life experience. Remember, only yesterday I mentioned that I always deliver a message from your very daily life experience. If you remember that, please. Okay. So I always deliver the message from your daily life experience, your very own experience. Can you imagine yourself giving somebody something that you do not have? You see what I'm saying to you? Can you imagine? I'm asking a question. Can you imagine giving somebody something if you do not have it for yourself? And the answer to that is, of course, you cannot give it to somebody until unless you have it. If you love yourself, and I'm not talking about how you look or the thought process, I'm talking about what you essentially are, or at least on the very fundamental level, which is life energy. If that life energy loves itself, it's only natural that it would spread around everywhere. It would spread around. It's only natural. You don't have to really do anything. Nature would take care of that. You see, we have so many comforts, but we never pay gratitude to the Creator. Have you not noticed that? I mean, we don't really have to do anything. All we have to do is just sit and, watch the game. But we never pay any gratitude or any thanks to the Creator. Anyway, now we'll go further. So the topic is forgiveness. The topic is karma and end of delusion. So remember something. If you believe in reincarnation, and if you believe in mukti or moksa, or what the word in the religious circle must believe in forgiveness, and we'll get around it very soon, because I understand and I know for a fact that this topic is very significant and important, because not forgiving and carrying on, unfortunately, with the resentments and carrying on with the desires of getting even with other fellow humans is spreading, and has spread already. Not spreading, but has spread already, and is still spreading on a tremendous speed if we, the yogis or the sages from India or wise people, don't stand up against it. It is spreading a lot of hate among the humans, you see, which is not a good thing at all. So, however, please remember what I said not a moment ago, that if you believe in karma, if you believe in reincarnation, you must learn to forgive. I'm telling you the truth. We'll look into it. We'll look into it so close and so profoundly that there remains nothing to look into. You see, we'll look into it. However, before we look into it, this is not in the response of any inquiry to me either. Okay, now please remember something. Before we look into it, somebody asked me, they follow me here on Facebook and they follow me here on YouTube. And they have become a friend of mine. They requested me a few weeks back, and they are watching, rather, what the word I'm looking for in English, they are watching rather intently when I speak the words of truth and wisdom, and that's one of the reason I am doing my retreats frequently. Not that I am exclusively doing it for them, but I also doing it that because of, as yogis and a fully functional meditator and a fully functional yogi, we have certain control on our lives, so we can see things, of course, ahead of time. So I don't want to leave anything out just in case. I want to deliver, I want to complete my job before, just in case, you see. Anyway, so first thing they said, there is a picture of a person right behind you, and we have seen you doing pranam or namaste or giving gratitude to them. Who is that being? So the picture behind me, just right here, excuse me, just right here, sorry, yeah, that's the right thing. So the picture behind me, just right here, is the picture of Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna was a Hindu mystic, and Sri Ramakrishna was a saint and a Hindu mystic, you see. Now, if I start talking, so I have answered the person who inquired whose picture is that. So the picture behind me, just right here, is the picture of Sri Ramakrishna, who was basically a Hindu mystic and a saint, back in British Raj on India, you see, or Indian subcontinent. If I wanted to speak about Sri Ramakrishna going anywhere, and I could just speak covering everything. I'm not leaving anything. I remember that as every now and then I get compliments that you don't leave anything out. I remember I used to work for a gym, and I was working at the front desk over there, and my colleague and a good friend of mine, and she's a beautiful and wonderful human being, and every now and then I run into her, and then when I demonstrated after signing people up about, but I detailed it so much, I explained in so much detail that she was rather baffled, looking at me and smiling and looking at the person, and the person is saying, you have not left any questions for me, you already explained everything. And she said, my God, yes, you are so thorough, you don't leave anything out. I cannot believe it. So it's gotta be that way. You see what I'm saying to you? Because what you are experiencing right now, the sound of my voice, a physical body, and all this, it is this way. So I can relate to physicality. You understand? This is operated. The whole thing, I'm moving my hand, I'm very expressive. As you see, when I talk, I'm very expressive unless I am in a state of meditation, which I still am right now. Anyway, so it has to be that way. If we have to deliver a message from sacred, if we have to, we the yogis, we the people, we the sages, if we have to deliver a message to our humankind, it's gotta be that way. It has to be that way, and it's gotta be that way. I have to be fluent in a language that everybody can understand. I have to be focused on what I want to say. So it has to be that way. Sri Ramakrishna Sri Ramakrishna was a Hindu mystic and a saint back in British Raj. I'm sure you have heard, I have mentioned this name numerous times in the previous messages when I delivered, and I'm sure that you have heard of Swami Vivekananda. You see, I'm sure Swami Vivekananda was a yogi and a Hindu monk. you cannot encompass or cage in words. There are no words to express the magnitude of his personality. Swami Vivekananda. He was a very prominent yogi and a Hindu monk. You understand what I'm saying to you? The magnitude of his personality, words cannot encompass or deliver the message. If only if you were in his presence. Even when he is silent, you see, silent, even when he is silent, the surroundings around him, the energy would be so high, there would be enough to liberate you in his surrounding, even when he was silent. However, he loved to speak, just like I do and some of us do. And Swami Vivekananda also visited America, and he stayed here for some time. He was only 38 or 39 years of age when he passed on, Swami Vivekananda. And in these few years, he did a tremendous service to humankind, specifically in America. He was the one who introduced basically yoga here in America, along with Swami Yogananda. Anyway, Swami, if you want to listen to the sound of his voice, his real voice, which was recorded back in 1800, I think, and 95, if I remember correctly, it was recorded in 1895, if I remember correctly. Anyway, he delivered a speech here in America, in Chicago, you see, and she heard the voice for the first time. She said, his voice reminds me of Mufasa, which was the lion in Lion King, Mufasa. He has that voice of Mufasa. You see, that's how a mystic is. The magnitude of the energy and his power we cannot gauge in words. Yes. Anyway, Swami Vivekananda was Sri Ramakrishna's disciple. You understand what I'm saying to you? Swami Vivekananda was Sri Ramakrishna's disciple. Remember, not long ago I mentioned Sri Hindu mystic and a saint. That sometime the awareness of the truth can happen in literally in a few minutes or in a few hours or in a few days, but hence, however, it's not the result of one lifetime, it's not the result of one carnation. It may take numerous carnations to seek for the truth. You go and experience different features and different forms of life. That's what it happens. Swami Vivekananda basically was, when he was young, when he passed on, he was, of course, fairly young, only 38 or 39 when he passed on. In these few years, he did late teens. He was on fire because, of course, all the work which was done in the previous carnations, but in this carnation, he was in his late teens and he was on fire. He was the man he was the man basically without a plan. He was on fire. You understand, he looked around in ancient India, or not so ancient, but still he looked around in India and he saw poverty, that how Indians were suffering in poverty. There's something triggered in him. Also, he looked around and he said that where is the God while so many people are suffering, and is there even any God? Where is the God, and is there even any God? He had all these questions, all these rather, what the word I am looking for in English, these questions perplexed him. He was in a state of perplex. He was perplexed. He was confused that why British Raj, by the way, please remember that. And he went to numerous people and he asked if there is God, or have you experienced personally God? And if there is God, or if you have personally experienced God, then why there is so much suffering and hunger around us? That Sri Vivekananda, all these questions were circulating in his awareness, and he would go to people, he would look for the truth, he would ask these questions, that if there is a God, have you personally experienced that God? You see, and nobody would be able to give him a concrete answer or a concrete reply. This was prior to when he met Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa, or Pramahansa, however you want to pronounce it. So it was British Raj, and Swami Vivekananda was being educated. His focus was tremendous, and what happened is that one day, it was in all this was happening is in West Bengal, if I remember correctly. All this was happening in West Bengal, Kolkata or Kolkata in India. So he was being educated by an English man. He was being educated by an English professor who was a man of intellect, an extremely educated and learned man. And Wordsworth, if I remember his name correctly, his name was probably Wordsworth, or last name at least. So he said, you know, there is a man. You are young, I understand you have questions about God, or if people have experienced God, I understand your quest, and I can see your quest is tremendous. You would not sit around, or you would not to numerous people and all that. Since you have gone to numerous people, you have gone to many wise people, you have gone to many rishis, why don't you just give a last try see what I'm saying to you? That Englishman told Swami Vivekananda, you should go and check him out and ask him the questions you have. So it came from an authentic, learned man, and Vivekananda said, I will. And he went over there. He was the man on fire. I told you, he was the man without a plan, but he had questions. So he entered, and Sri and Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa was sitting in a state of meditation, and he came abruptly, literally just kind of barged in the vicinity, and abruptly, and he looked at Sri Ramakrishna, and he said, is there a God? And Sri Ramakrishna, and have you seen the God? First question was from Swami Vivekananda to Sri Ramakrishna, is there a God? And have you seen that God? And Sri Ramakrishna was a Hindu mystic, and he looked at Swami Vivekananda, or Vivekananda at that time. He looked at him and he said, my boy, I can see God much clearer than I see you. You see, these are very, very powerful words. He looked at Swami Vivekananda and he said, my boy, I can see God much clearer than I see you. And Swami Vivekananda said, where is the proof? And Sri Ramakrishna said, I am the proof. Sri Ramakrishna asked Vivekananda, would you like me to show you? Now, you need to follow my words. Sri Ramakrishna said to Swami Vivekananda, would you like me to show you that God you are looking for? And he said, yes. And he said, do you have the guts, or do you have the nerves to experience God? And Swami Vivekananda said yes. And he took his foot, Sri Ramakrishna took Swami Vivekananda's foot and opened his own chest and placed his foot on his chest for some minutes. By the time when Swami Vivekananda came out of the vicinity, he was not the same person. You understand? And then he did so much service to humankind, all the humans throughout the globe, and humans and our fellow humans in America. He did tremendous amount of service. So now you understand what Sri Ramakrishna is. You see, that was Sri Ramakrishna. If you have any questions, you can ask me, write me, and also you can message me, and I will try to answer your questions. You can also look him up on YouTube. It would give you some liberation, and also it would give you some peace of mind. Not only it would give you some liberation, but it would give you some peace of mind. So you can go ahead and do it. And if you have confusions and questions, you can ask me. However, I would go now further a little. Towards mysticism, through the dedication towards yoga, and through the dedication towards meditation. I have a very concrete awareness that I personally myself was one of Sri Ramakrishna's disciple. That's why I paranam him, and I do meditation in the presence of his picture, and you have no idea the kind of energy it emits. You see the word emit, but you have no idea the kind of energy it emits. Anyway, we'll go further. So what happens is now the reason I'm delivering message rather more frequently, what happens when you are totally dedicated means it's not something that you do to pass your time. But when you are totally dedicated, when you are totally and entirely dedicated, when you get involved in something as your lifestyle, or you make a certain practice your lifestyle. Lifestyle means this is what you live for. So there comes a time, and you take all the right measures to mean you try to practice, or you try to do non-judgment, so your vacuum is empty. So the more and more energy accelerates, and you do not gossip, you try to forgive. Sometimes, of course, it's very hard for all of us, myself included. Sometimes it's very hard to forgive. I would be honest with you. However, it's a conditioning that we do just the opposite. We can forgive. It's very easy. But so when you take all the right measures and you dedicate yourself towards Kriya Yoga and meditation, plus you practice mysticism, there comes a time in your point, the very life energy which is running through you, you see the very through which I am, moving my hands and all this. You see what I'm saying to you? The very life energy. It rises when you take all the right measures and you dedicate yourself and you make it as a lifestyle for yourself. So there comes a time in your life that the very life energy has risen above the body. You understand what I'm saying to you? And this is such an experience that you cannot miss. It becomes just like anything else, just like your breathing. You see what I'm saying? This is basic fundamental medical science. Just like the process of breathing in you is a natural process. You see, your body does not have to go to college or some type of university or take some type of academics to learn how to breathe. As soon as your mother has given birth to you, as soon as your mother has given birth to you in this form, the process of breathing is natural. You don't have to put any extraordinary efforts to do that, until unless people have diseases that happens later on, or somebody unfortunately and sadly was born in with a birth defect. You see, I don't leave anything out. I look at things very clearly. And then just as your heart is beating, your heart is not going to a cardio school or a university in order to learn how to beating. Beating is not what heart does. Beating is what heart is. There is no beating, there is no heart, not anymore. You see what I'm saying to you? Just like that, when all these two processes, as an example I told you, are very natural process. You understand? And just like that, you know that your life energy has risen tremendously. You know that. You see things manifesting around you that you can only see and you can only understand. You can see the cause and you can understand the cause. You know the cause and you know the effect of it. And there are things manifesting around you that only you can see. These are the signs. There are things manifesting around you only you can see and you can comprehend. Meaning, somebody from the past who had you so much, or any number of reasons, you may run into them. Somebody, a stranger, it doesn't matter, even if we are physically distant with each other, they can start a conversation with you, they can start a communication with you, and it starts happening. It means the level of your awareness and consciousness is the fundamental state of the being. However, it gives birth to life energy, and the life energy has risen so much that you cannot miss it. You understand? As you can see from my stamina, that how much energy I am encompassing right now, that I'm speaking non-stop with a tremendous focus, and I am in a state of so you know that your life energy has risen. What happens is when it has risen up to or a certain level or more than, then your body start becoming feeble. It means the body is not keeping up with the fundamental life energy. It means the fundamental life energy, the magnitude has risen tremendously, and the fundamental happens. Anyway, so as the topic is forgiveness, you see what I'm saying? If somebody has wronged me, now I'm talking about forgiveness, karma, and the end of delusion, which is moksha or salvation. If you believe in karma, if you believe in reincarnation, you must believe in forgiveness, and you must practice forgiveness, because remember, the more forgiveness you practice or the more you forgive, the less karma there is, and when there is less karma, you are more closer to moksa or your salvation. You see how the relation is, and how I explain that, if you were paying only attention to my words, which I'm sure you were. Just not all the attention towards my body, but just kidding, but also towards my words, you know what I mean? See, every now and then we gotta bring some humor in our conversation. Anyway, so forgiveness is something that if you forgive, you have less karma. When you have less karma, you are more close is something that should come in the picture. Now one can say, yes, you are absolutely correct, but how do I do that? The reason it seems so difficult to forgive, now hear me out. You see, can you see me clearly? Okay. Yeah, the very reason it seems so difficult to forgive, the very reason it seems so difficult to forgive, because we are conditioned from everyone, and there is nobody to blame. Blame game is not gonna happen, because there is nobody to blame. Everybody is equally responsible, and it happens to each one of us, no matter what society you go. We are conditioned to do just the opposite. You see, somebody has wronged us, somebody was rude to us, and we are saying, I can't wait to get even, you see, I'll see you, this and that, and are contemplating all that. When you are focused, you see not only what you say or do, but even your thoughts. When you are focused, it means that your awareness, what you essentially are, the pure consciousness is focused solely, and it creates energy. Negative karma means this type of karma would bring you over and over and over to this planet. You understand? Because it's all negative. The scheming to get even, thinking ill and sick about your fellow humans, thinking ill and sick about somebody who has wronged you and not forgiving them. It is bringing the karma which would, what you call it, prolong, which would prolong the numbers of the carnation on the planet. And Moksa, salvation, or the end of delusion, is a beautiful thing. It would basically, just like it would push you away from that. You see, you are deviated from your purpose. So that's what it is. You understand what I am saying to you? The more karma there is, the more carnations there are, the far we are from Moksa or Mukti. You see, so the best way not to accumulate karma or even get rid of the karma we already have is to learning to forgive. Forgiveness is a natural process. However, scheming ill about fellow humans is not natural. It's a demented process. You see, it has no good consequences in our daily life. Please know that. Okay. Forgiveness, no matter, yes, it feels very hard on times. Even for me, I'm not better than anyone. I may be just more aware of things. You see, for each one of us, forgiveness, it feels sometimes very hard and very difficult on times, you know. But we need to understand, if we forgive, we shed our karma. Please know that. And the less karma there is, the more closer we are to the end of delusion or to the ultimate liberation, which is Moksa. Please know that. The less karma we have, the more we are close to the end. Please remember the word remember. Please remember the word remember. Okay, that this is what happens. So let's learn to forgive. And how do we know we have forgiven somebody? When we hear their name. You see, my mentor Don Miguel Ruiz writes in one of his prominent books that how do we know that you heard the bell. So I have covered the topic. Anyway, let me at least sum it up. As my mentor Don Miguel Ruiz says in one of his prominent books, that we know we have forgiven somebody when we hear their name. We know we have forgiven somebody when they are in our surroundings, and we do not get any type of emotional reaction from it. So we know that we have forgiven a person. So let's keep that in mind. It's very important to learn to forgive. You see, forgiveness is a natural process. After we forgive somebody, we feel lighter and lighter. So let's practice it. All of us practice it. As 2000 years back, Lord Jesus Christ said, forgive so you can, Lord Jesus Christ said, forgive so you can be forgiven. 2000 years back, he said that. So our forgiveness basically is in the forgiveness of others. If we forgive other people, this is where our forgiveness is hidden.